All right, if you are with me, I'm waiting for people to hop on. I'm going to give it a few minutes. Here we go. Good. Hi, Patricia. There we go. All right, I know more and more people are joining us. I had a glitch today. I don't know what was going on there. That was kind of weird. Hi, there we go. All right. Good. I'm going to give it a few minutes to get everybody on. All right. I am going to, it looks like I'm on two different places. Hi, Barry. Welcome. All right, Misty, welcome to the live here. All right, good. If you can hear me and see me okay, there was like a glitch on Facebook today, so I'm not sure what was going on there. But if you can hear me, all right. Hi, Noemis. Hi, Jody. Wow, this is a great group. I like it. I hope everybody brought questions. I got a bunch of questions already that people had asked, so we're gonna really deep dive into this. And I'm gonna give everybody a few minutes to get on here. All right, good. All right, excellent. Hi. All right, good. Now I see everybody coming in. Okay, good. All right. Hi, Susan. Hi, Noemis. Hi, Jody. Good. Misty, welcome. Valerie, welcome. Did anybody have a hard time finding this? Because I had a glitch that was going on before when I started it. I'm not sure. It was a Facebook thing. Someone in the world of Facebook had an issue. All right. Good. All right. Excellent. So what I'm going to do is if anybody has any questions, if you'd be kind enough to put that in that chat area, this way I can get to all of the different questions that people have. Okay, good. Thank you, Jody. Okay, good. Thank you, Misty. I don't know what happened, but I had to redo the actual Facebook Live in order. I don't know. I'll stick to being a doctor. I don't want to be a computer programmer. That is not my wheelhouse. I probably have broken more computers than I've fixed, so I'll take it that way. All right, good, excellent. So good. So if you have any questions, please post those in there so I can start getting to them. But what I'd like to do is, as people are coming in, I'm going to go and just address some of the questions that I got over the last few days. So real quick, for those of you who are on this Facebook Live and you're not familiar with who I am or what I do, my name is Dr. Jonathan Spages. I have been pretty well known for reversing type 2 diabetes. I've been on many radio programs, TV programs. I was on one of the largest podcasts recently. I have over 1 million views on YouTube. I practice something called functional medicine. And in functional medicine, my job, and I really just work with type 2 diabetics. That's really what my entire practice is geared around. But I don't actually treat diabetes, which is pretty remarkable. I do a completely different approach where I don't actually treat the disease because it is a symptom, right? Type 2 diabetes is a symptom. But what I'd rather do is actually go in and figure out why that person has blood sugar problems in the first place. And it's funny because I'm writing my next book right now, and there's a whole section in this book about this exact topic. As a matter of fact, I actually just did a presentation that you guys will probably see in about a month from now once I get it edited. But there are actually 16 factors and actually what could be linked to diabetes, and it's not genetic. So we're going to get into that as well, but it is actually not genetic. So I'm going to get into all of those things. So anyway, the purpose of this Facebook Live, the purpose of everything I do is to help you, right? As a type 2 diabetic, my grandmother, she died prematurely from type 2 diabetes. She did everything her doctor told her to do. She took the meds, she changed her diet, she even ate nasty food. And even when she did all those things, she still didn't get herself better. And the medical model of just throwing a pill at everything wasn't the answer. It isn't the answer for most diabetics, right? Most of you don't want more and more medication. You want less and less medication. So my mission, my purpose is to go and defy the odds, to actually help people reverse their type 2 diabetes where they get to the root imbalances of what's causing it. So the purpose of these Facebook Lives are going to be to go and actually answer some questions that you have, because there's so much bad information out there. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to be answering a lot of questions. And the rules are, do me a favor, if you have a question, I'm going to address some that have already showed up in our Facebook group. Our Facebook group is awesome, by the way. I get so much enjoyment going into that group. Everybody is so supportive. It brings such good energy. I'm really glad I started that. People have been asking me to start a Facebook group for a long time, and I finally, if you saw my schedule, but I finally had a few minutes to actually go do that. Actually, one of my staff set it up. But anyway, but I really love interacting with everybody on there, and it's just a fun group, and I really encourage you to share and to support each other, because there's hope for diabetics, right? And it's going to be more hopeful when everybody works together and we work as a team to actually see some major improvement, not just keep treating things with drugs every day. That is not the answer, right? So anyway, so good. So what I'm going to do is I got boy, the more people that joined us, welcome to the actual live here. All right, here we good. All right, and then no, Patricia, I didn't change it. I don't know what happened. Hi, Gail. It's good to see you on here. Let's see, Gail's here. Valerie's good to see you as well. All right, so Misty has a question. Misty, I'm going to hold that question just for 1 second. It looks like it's long, but I'm going to actually address some questions earlier that people have been asking in our Facebook group, so I want to get into that. All right, so just so you know, just on a barometer, I probably have about good 25, 30 minutes. I have a little bit longer than the last Facebook Live, so I'll be able to answer a bit more questions. So on our Facebook group, Margaret asked something about hormones, right? Cortisol. So if you're a patient in my office, you know that this is a really, really important thing. There's something called the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which is basically two parts of the brain that relate out to the adrenal glands, and they affect, obviously, your ability to not only regulate blood sugar, but also regulate weight and energy, things of that nature. So yes, cortisol is a major issue. But here's the issue that we run into even deeper than that. Everybody has stress, right? Like, I don't know if you can find a person on this planet who doesn't have stress, right? They have financial stress, family stress, relationship stress, traffic. Like since I've been in New Jersey most of my life, and I've been in Florida for a few years, but the traffic lights in Florida are stressful to me, because I'm like, I get to the light and I'm like, this is going to be so long, I may die while I'm here. This is so long. What is going on? My patients know this, but I'm a highly productive person. So if I'm sitting at a light for 3 minutes, I'm thinking like, well, I could have talked to 3 patients. I could have been looking at their food journals. I could have been doing other things besides look at this freaking light. So anyway, so that's a stress. And the problem isn't the stress. The problem is your body's ability to handle stress. And there are specific labs you want to look at, not in blood. There's labs that you look at in saliva to see this. One of the things that I will say, because I know there are going to be numbers of people who watch this, the last video that I put out, just as kind of like a quick video, we had over 350 people watching it. So this one's going to probably generate much more now that more people find out about what I do and our group. But there is a supplement that I do recommend. Now, if you're a patient in my office, just listen, don't follow tune. But if you're not a patient in my office, there's a product called Adrenal Balance. And Adrenal Balance has what are called the adaptogenic herbs, and these are herbs that helps your body actually go and adapt to certain situations. And you can find that. The website is CompleteLifeNutrition.org. I don't know. Let me put that in here for those of you that are interested. So that is something that is really good to actually handle. .org. Okay, good. So I just put that in the chat area. So I've been talking all day. So anyway, so that's a really good product you could do. So the question was about cortisol and stress. Yes, stress affects blood sugar levels. It also affects weight, right? So it's really, really important to make sure that is good. Hi, Peggy. Welcome. Connie, welcome. There's a bunch of you that have entered the room. Thank you for coming in. Jamie asked, where am I located in Florida? So I do only telehealth, Jamie, but I'm located in a town called Dunedin. It's a little north of Clearwater, which is by Tampa. So we'll say the Tampa area, for lack of a better way of saying it. So anyway, so good. The first question was asked about hormones and cortisol. Yeah, very important for blood sugar levels. So you may notice that when you have a blood sugar problem and you get stressed out, right, for whatever reason, that usually raises blood sugar levels. So you want to make sure you manage it. there's two folds of this really, right? The one side of it you can go, and the one point is, well, if something's stressing you out, handle the stress, right? If their dog is barking at 4 in the morning, see if you can handle the dog so you're not woken up and stressed out. So that's one part of it. So the other one and the other side of it is that you got to go and actually handle the adrenal glands. So if you have been, and let me preface this by saying there are particular labs to look at. One of the labs I do like is something called secretory IgA. And anyway, it basically tells you how long have you been stressed out. Is it like due to COVID, like the last year or two? Or is it due to like a long-term issue where you've been having it for a long time? Some patients I have, they're older, but they're taking care of a chronically ill person, right? Their mom or significant other. And that sort of stress usually takes years, right? Like if someone has dementia from diabetes or something else, that it takes years and years and years before that gets mitigated, or God forbid something happens where that doesn't become a situation. But that sort of stress, you need to support that. That's not something that you're going to just handle right away. So this is why I recommend something like that, a supplement or something of that nature. How do you get an appointment, Jamie? Good luck. With my office, it's pretty busy, but we're not really doing it on a live, how to get an appointment. But if you are interested, reach out to us, and one of my staff will let you know the process. Essentially, you have to go to a webinar to understand what I do, because I don't want to explain that on our visit. And then if there are any free appointments, once in a while we'll offer free appointments. If there are any free appointments, that'll be an option. If not, you just pay for the appointment. But yeah, that's not what we're doing. This is a question and answer. It's not patient acquisition time, right? That sort of thing. All right, good. Let's go to the next question here. So Pablo asks, I'm 56 and have diabetes and my feet are tingling and in pain. What should I do? So Pablo, the answer to that question is really you got to figure out what is going on underneath it. You know what? I have a question. All right, let's see. I'm going to ask a really good question, and if you're watching a replay or watching this live, then I want you to try to answer this question. I have a really awesome, I don't know what you want to call it, patient success of someone who is about to lose their foot, and their entire foot, right, came back and so forth. And I was actually going to show you the images. I was going to put a full disclaimer that this is a graphic image and things of that nature. However, just in the chat area, if you would be interested in learning how I went and without addressing the foot, actually got the foot to heal, just give me a thumbs up or yes, because I'm going to I wanted to actually put a whole training on this for people with neuropathy. Some of you know that I had a very large neuropathy center in New Jersey when I practiced there. So anyway, I just want to see okay, so Peggy's gives me a thumbs up. Okay, thank you, Peggy. Now this is going to be graphic. I just want to be full disclosure. So do not be mad at me if you watch this video and you're like, that was pretty rough. So, yeah. Does anybody want to know, does anybody want to know the little glimpse story of what made me want to become a doctor? There's there's always something that kind of defines your future, right? And there was something that occurred. I'll tell you a quick story. So there was something that occurred that I'm kind of embarrassed of this story, but nevertheless, I'll tell you. So I'm in high school, and in my high school, we had the opportunity, which was a really awesome opportunity, to give back to the community and to go into nursing homes and facilities like that. And help people that needed help, right? It was a really, really awesome program, and I loved doing it. Just some of the people that were there, they just didn't have any family, and we went in there and we would communicate and talk with them, and it was just really cool. But anyway, one of the times that we did it, because it was on every Thursday we did it, right, just before school ended, so we got there at 1 o'clock and be done it by 3:30 or something. So anyway, one of the days that we were there, it was myself and there were other classmates of mine, right? And this is in high school. I was probably about 16, 17 years old. So in one of the nursing homes, they had an area where there were, like a hospital sort of thing, like a kind of like an urgent care or whatever. So someone's giving us a tour. This was a new facility we were checking out, a new nursing facility. So anyway, they're like, yeah, this is kind of like our lab. So they're like, would you like to come inside? So just at that time when we went inside, and it was myself and probably about another, we'll say 8 other students, right, kids, right? And we went in there, and in this room, there was a doctor, right there, and there was a table, and there was a leg. That was it. And you could see, because he wasn't trying to hide anything, you could see this was an amputee. And the kind of the turning point was there was only one person that walked toward the leg. Everybody literally turned around, went the other way, made noises, and almost threw up. I was that person that walked towards the leg, and I was fascinated. I was like trying to learn how it is that this person's leg got taken out. There was an interest there. I was like, wait a second, how did this occur? And I was into health at that time. If you guys have ever seen my bio, right? Like I was an athlete. I was really into health. But anyway, yeah, that was like that point where I was like, wait a second, I think there's something pretty crazy. I never forget, because at that time, my grandmother, who I talk about often in webinars and so forth, she was a diabetic. Amputation wasn't her thing. She had heart attacks, unfortunately, and strokes, which was devastating. But I walked towards this leg, and I never forget, it was a person who was white, but the leg was black from literally the middle of the leg all the way down to the foot. And I was asking this person, right, this doctor, or who this, I guess he was like probably a pathologist, right, someone who was like studying the disease. And I was like, what happened here? What's going on? And the one word they said was, oh, this person's a diabetic. And I was like, huh? And they're like, I was like, how did they lose a leg? Like mind you, I'm the only one in this room with this guy. Everybody else was like, that was disgusting. And they're running out. Like literally, I think someone almost threw up. One of the girls that was with us in this group. So as I'm there looking at this, he wound up showing a artery that was completely dysfunctional. And essentially the way he was explaining at that time, and obviously I have a much greater education now that I've been doing this for 20 years, is that he was like, well, this artery basically went bad, and that artery is the one that fed the foot, and because that artery could not go and actually give the foot nutrients and water and blood and everything, the foot died. So horrible story. It still sticks to me today that we live in a country that still deals with that. Like this is something that maybe during George Washington time we should be addressing, not nowadays. It's just still crazy to me that I see amputations on a regular basis. I have a patient, I don't even know if he's on right now, but who lost 10 toes from diabetes. 10 toes. And this is a guy who's really tough, and it's just horrible to see things like that. So anyway, so back to Pablo's question about neuropathy, is you have to go and get everything back to balance, right? Neuropathy is a part of the program where if the diabetes is there and the inflammation is there and so forth, the nerves obviously die, and you have to fix everything. You can't just go after the foot, because that's just a part of the equation, right? I'll give you an analogy. Imagine if, like if you have a tree, right? Like I have a lot of fruit trees now that I live in Florida, citrus trees, and we have bananas, we have all types of stuff, right? And if you look at the fruit at the end, right, and it starts to die, right, but the branch right here is cut, like you can't go here and keep treating this. Like you can't keep treating the fruit, right? The fruit is dying. You can't keep treating this. You have to go and find out where it's not connected and fix this, and then there's life. And if you know anything about cross-pollination or even grafting, right? The grafting is a thing you do in gardening, right? Shows you my little gardening skills, right? Is that you can connect two plants together and they become one plant, right? And that's how another plant can grow on one other plant. They're from the same species. It's kind of the same idea. So you got to get the whole thing working, Pablo. All right. So hopefully I answered that question. Tammy asked the same question about neuropathy. So yeah, it's the body's dying, right? The body's inflamed, and there are certain labs to look at to address. One thing I will recommend, I don't know how many people here have neuropathy, but one of the things that I start every patient on in my office is like a metabolic clearing. And what it is basically, it's a big, huge fire extinguisher to inflammation. And it's awesome. It's a 21-day protocol. I do it every single year. Sometimes I even do it, like last year I did it 2 times. And what it does is just gets the inflammation down. It's really awesome. What's really good about it too is you don't actually have to be a patient in my office to do something like that. Like you could be anywhere in the country and still do that sort of a protocol. And it's all doctor formulated. It's really, really good. But that is something that by getting the inflammation down, there could be some hope related to blood sugar levels and things of that nature, and also the neuropathy. All right, Natalie has a question. And by the way, if you have questions, please put that in the comments. So I see a lot of highs. I don't know if you guys are actually going and putting questions in here. I do have a question from Misty, which is good. All right, good. Hi, Rosie. All right, good. Excellent. Let me just update this. Okay, good. My staff was like, do you want help? And I'm like, nah, I got it. I'm used to webinars with 200-300 people. I was like, this is easy. No, I'm kidding. So, all right, here we go. So, okay, so she asked about why would they treat type 2 as a type 1? Does a Whipple surgery have anything to do with it? I don't know enough about a Whipple surgery, but I will talk about type 1 or type 2, right? So there are 4 types of diabetes. I just got done with this chapter of my book, so I'm all excited about it. So there are 4 types of diabetes. So I just want to talk about 2 right now, and I don't want to get into all 4. You can read the book and see the whole depth of all that. But type 1 and type 2 is what I like to talk about. Type 1 is something called neurodegenerative, right? This is where someone has a predisposition where the pancreas isn't working or something else is wrong. And essentially what you're seeing here is that the body can't produce insulin. Insulin is the right treatment for these people because their body cannot make it. Now, let's talk about type 2, which is the more popular one where most people who are on this particular live or patients in my office are type 2. So in a type 2, what you're running into is that you have typically insulin resistance. And that means that, like, let's say this is the cell of your body, right? And this pen here is sugar, right? So, and this hand is insulin. I should just draw my hands. So the basically insulin takes this sugar and puts it into, right, the cell of your body. Now, every cell of your body needs 4 things, all right? Let's go through each one. Thyroid hormone, oxygen, it needs sugar, right? And it lastly needs vitamin D. So those 4 things are needed in every cell of your body. Basic. These are basic fundamental things that your cells need, right? Everybody's cells. So essentially what happens is you're not getting the sugar into the cell. This is how diabetics get worse over time. And this is where the symptoms start showing up, the weight, the energy, things of that nature. So let's go back to the question. The question is, what is the difference between 1 and 2? So there's a big difference. Now, more importantly, I think the question is, well, could a 2 become a 1? Absolutely. So you could take enough medication. I see this, unfortunately, in my office all the time. Okay, I'm from New Jersey, so forgive me. It pisses me off when I see it every day because I think it's neglectful. But essentially, you could take enough medication, right? Like, and doctors prescribe this, right? You walk in the office, you give your insurance card, they see blood sugar's high, here's a drug, here's a drug, here's a drug, here's a drug. And that approach leads to sometimes the pancreas breaking, right? So I'm using the word not literally, figuratively, but it breaks. And thus that means that the body no longer can now produce and make insulin, which is what the pancreas job is. And then you can become a type 1 diabetic where you are bound to insulin. And that is really the worst place you could be as a type 2 diabetic because it offers very little opportunity for you to get better. Now, have I seen cases in my office where that happened and they got better? Yes. Yes, I have, but I don't like seeing it because it's much harder for everybody for lots of reasons. They wore down too much, right? Their body just got worn down so much. So anyway, so that's really the biggest factor there. Okay, so that answers that question, and that's a really good question. Gail asked about frankincense. Geez, oh my God, I actually have frankincense. I think right in my office somewhere. Sometimes now I'm inquisitive. Look, I do have it. All right, you guys see that? Look, I do have frankincense. Wow, who knew? All right. So anyway, Gail asked about frankincense. It's pretty pungent smell, right? But anyway, so frankincense, is it good for neuropathy? Not really. You really got to get down to getting the nerves functioning, getting the oxygen back in there and things of that nature. That's really the ultimate solution. But good question, Gail. I know Gail does her research and homework, and I think she's on. Are you here, Gail? Let's see. You were on. I think I saw you. Oh, I don't know if you're there. Hi, guys. A bunch of people came in. Hi, Helen. Welcome. Oh, okay. Yep. Thank you, Susan, for that. Is quinoa okay or should I wait? I don't know what the question is, Rosie. I don't know what the question is. Don't know. Oh, I see. Greetings. Yeah, I don't see the questions too. I'm Margaret. Just so you know, I'm reading questions that someone gave me a few days ago. I just printed them out from our actual group. So that one I do. Misty, I'll go into. So if you go to my website, Misty, about the metabolic clearing program, and you go to my website, which is here. I'll just type it in. There's a whole section in there that is all about things that are on sale. I think it's /shop. Let me know if you get that. Yeah, that's it right there. But if you go and get it, let me know because the metabolic clearing is on sale. So I think it's listed there for $1,600. It's on sale actually for I think it's $997. So something like $998, something like that. So if you are going to buy it, be sure to let not me, but let my staff know, and this way you can get like a $600 discount on it. We just do it at the beginning of the year, so that's going to end pretty soon. So that's the answer to that. Yeah, it's really, really good. I did it twice this year. You know what happened? I did it the first time, and I just felt so good on it that I was like, let me just do it again. And my wife was like, you sure? Like, you don't have to do it. I was like, I don't know. I just feel good on it, so I did it again. So it was really good. So awesome. Good. I'm on a 14-day into detox plan. Good job, Rosie. Make sure you're doing it the right way. I don't know, Rosie, if you're a patient in my office. I don't believe you are. But this is something a little different than a detox, so you want to make sure you do that correctly. Connie asked, okay, I see some questions in here. All right. Yeah, Jamie, isn't Dunedin fun? Right? It's a cute little town. For those of you who've never been to Dunedin, it's a cute little town. It's really nice. Connie asked, how do I get my sugar down? So, Connie, your sugar is up because you have something causing it to go up. So the answer is you have to figure out what is causing it to go up to then make it go down, and so forth. So specifically, we don't know what's causing your sugar to go up, but you have to figure it out in order to get that going down. If you are in our group or if you are following me on my website, I have a ton of information on that. But once again, you're treating a symptom. So you got to really watch it. You don't want to go and spend all your days trying to treat a symptom. You're not really going to get where you want to be. All right, so anyway. All right, good. Let's see here. Yes, I sent a question the other day. Peggy, can you put your question in there? Oh, Rosie, is it on the 21-day detox okay to eat? Yeah, you're forced to eat. None of my patients say anything. Don't be mad at me. Do not throw tomatoes at me on the live. But no, you have to eat, and you're not going to be hungry. So yeah, on the 21-day detox, the one that we do in our office, it's really, really good. So here, I'll pin this. I don't know what that means, but I'll figure it out. All right, good. So here we go. Oh, this is a good question by Peggy. So I just literally did a whole entire training on this, Peggy. I don't know if you heard when I mentioned that. And also, I just wrote a whole chapter of this in my upcoming book. So how do you get your sugars down when they say it's hereditary? So they did, okay, so let me back up a little bit, right? So we spent $2.7 billion, okay, in 1991 money, right? Meaning like if you were looking back in 1991 in nowadays time, it'd be $2.7 billion on something called the Genome Project. The Human Genome Project is where all the doctors try to like study to see what gene causes type 2 diabetes. I literally did a whole video. Oh, you're good, Peggy. I just did literally a whole video on this, which I'll be probably publishing in about a month from now. It's probably about 45 minutes long. It's really good. But anyway, there are 16 other components. But when they did this genome project in regards to diabetes, there was no gene for diabetes. And how do we know this to be true? Well, a lot of reasons. Number one is that if there was a gene for diabetes, and this study came out in 2003, by the way, literally 20 years ago, right? So we're in 2023. This came out 20 years ago. And they looked at all the genes. There's no genes for type 2 diabetes. And also we got to look at this, right? For how many testimonials I have in my office, like last week we had 8 people off all their medication. 2 of them were on insulin or told they would never be off insulin. So if it was genetic, how did this happen? I didn't go into their family and dig them up and change their genes and have them reborn. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous, but like the point is, like, you have to get to the underlying imbalances. Now, there is something called epigenetics, which I'm not going to talk about on a live, but anyway, the epigenetics is a really, really important process to making sure that you're doing the genes, like your gene expression is necessary based on your lifestyle and environment now. So I just did a whole entire plan about that. Okay, awesome, good. Let's go to the next question, and then post your questions before we end off. So I don't want to miss anything. Okay, so Peggy, I think I answered this. Peggy was asking about diabetes. It's not hereditary, but it does run in families. Yeah, it does. And what you're finding more of, it isn't really the genetic predisposition. It's more the habitual ceremony sort of thing, right? So I'm Italian, so my parents, right, they would be more into the breads and pastas and all those sort of things. So, and everybody has their family tradition, right? Grandma comes by and the cake comes out, or somebody else comes by and some other food. So anyway, the point is that there are things that we habitually wind up doing because of our family habits, right? Like I know in certain families, everybody has a certain dessert, or they spend like seven fishes, right? So some of these habits could be a factor. And also, let's see what traits you pick up. Let's say your dad was the dad that was the person that, like, if you get home at work, you sit down and you don't do anything, right? They just watch the TV set, and you start taking into, right, those sort of habits. Well, you're going to have a similar lifestyle to him or her, whoever you're mimicking. And so forth, right? If your mom was the person in the kitchen cooking, and she would always eat the wrong food as she's cooking, and now you're older and you're cooking the same way, and you're eating all the wrong food while you're making something, those sort of things, yes. What about reward system, right? Has anybody here basically had a award system, right, where it was actually causing bad problems, right? Like if you did good at work, you get junk food, and if you did good at a sport, you get junk food, right? My kids try to do that to me and my wife, right? Like, hey, my kids are into boba. I don't know if you guys know what that is. It's like kind of a tea. So, hey, I did really good. And the problem is with my kids, they always do really well, right? My son is on honor roll 6 months in a row. My daughter last week, she was student of the month in her class. My other daughter is on honor roll, and I'm like, it's good having kids that are doing well, but it's like, man, they always want, it's like, how about I give you $10 instead of the boba tea? But these reward systems, my point is these reward systems lead into problems, right? So anyway, you don't want to disenfranchise children of not trying to win in life, right? I like rewards, but definitely want to be a healthy reward. That's the important thing. All right, good. Misty asks, what glucose number is too low? So that's a great question, Misty. So I'm going to answer it two ways, and I'm going to talk to you from a patient point of view and then a non-patient point of view. So in my office, because patients are taking their pharmaceuticals right in the beginning, and they're also working on under the iceberg of what's making them sick. So my cutoff is always 85. So when I start seeing the blood sugar level getting down to around 85, that is when I tell them, hey, get back to your doctor right away. Let's make sure, you're welcome, Peggy. Let's make sure like things are good, right? Let's make sure everything is the way it should be. So if you're not fixing while you're sick and you're taking medication to force the numbers down, because that's essentially what these do, right? Glipizide, glyburide, Januvium, Genumed, Actos, Tresiba, Ozempic, insulins, they all force the numbers down. That's the goal of these drugs. Most doctors, now this is not me because I don't manage diabetes, I'm not trained in that, I reverse diabetes, but the management side of it, most doctors don't want you under 110, and that is because you will drive the numbers down and cause major problems. So healthy numbers, let's establish that as 85 to 99, that's where you should be healthy-wise. So anyway, hopefully I answered it. Diabetics drive after they eat. All right, I don't know what that means, Robert. Just rephrase that, and maybe I can answer that as a question. All right, let's see here. I think I answered that, Misty. And then there was another question you had, Misty, too. I think I got to this one, Peggy, about diabetes and heredity. Mom and dad. Can't blame mom and dad for everything. Does anybody ever do that? Everything is wrong because of mom and dad. What happened to all my earlier ones? How did we get them? Okay, good. I don't know what happened. I don't see the earlier ones. Misty, if you want... oh my God. Hi, Joanne. Wow. Joanne used to work for me in New Jersey. Oh, how many years ago was that? Jeez. Hi, Joanne. It's good to see you. That's great. That's great that you're on. That's awesome. That is great that you're on. Jeez, I'm glad that at least an employee likes me because, you know, being in practice for over 20 years, you know, there's definitely some... I'm a hard person to work for. I will be honest with you. And I'll tell you why. I don't know if Joanne will agree with this, but I want the best for you as a patient, right? And I am like, if someone, and I've hired people, I don't know if when you were there, Joanne, but I've hired people where they tried to mess the formula, right? Like, here are the ingredients, and don't change the formula. It's working, right? Look at all these people doing well. But you know, doctors, and you know, right now I'm hiring a nurse. We interviewed, or we've had well over 150 applicants in the last week. So we're hiring for some help there. But as long as they don't change the formula, but sometimes people go in there and try to make it better, and it's like, you know, it's like my grandmother's old pasta sauce. Like, just don't mess with it. It was good. It worked. People liked it. Don't try to add anything to it, right? So that sort of thing. So, yeah, 15 years ago. Okay, so you're giving everybody my age. Yeah, actually, last week when I interviewed two of these nurses, they were like, boy, you've been doing this forever, right? Like, reversing diabetes and help people. I'm like, are you saying I'm old? I'm like, that's not what you say in an interview. Like, don't tell me I'm old. I don't want to feel old. I don't at least feel old, but I don't know. Maybe I am old. My kids say I'm old, so you know how that goes. Okay, good. I'm going to be wrapping it up soon. So if you have any other questions, please put that in there. And I have two more on the paperwork, so I'm going to be answering the ones that I got on the Facebook Live. But put those questions in. Oh, thank you, Joanne. I appreciate it. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. Hopefully you guys are doing well, you and your daughter. That's awesome. So good. So let's see here. I have two more questions. All right. The first one is, what is the best diet? Oh my God. You know, I put out probably 100 videos on there. And here's the answer to that. There is no magical diet. You basically eat healthy, right? So that is essentially what you're doing as a type 2 diabetic. Now, many of you, if you're a patient in my office, you know that the diet is the foundation. Now, it means that despite what you've heard out there with all the ketos and intermittent fasting and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I know, it's crazy, right? Yeah, Rosie, I agree with you. Boba tea is good, but it is not good for you. But you know what's actually not bad? If you can get a low sugar kombucha tea, that's pretty good. I used to make kombucha until like fruit flies are everywhere. Like if you ever make, great Peggy. So fruit flies go everywhere, but kombucha tea is really good. You just got to find one with low sugar. A lot of them have a lot of sugar. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so about a diet. So there's no like one diet, right? So people, like, if you go to my website, there is a free 21-day diet. It's very simple and so forth. Definitely check that out. If you go to my website, you can get access to that. And there's a whole course I put together. It's a really good course. It's super cheap. It's like $26 or something. But it's really, really good. And I put videos together and I really explain it in detail. This way you get a basic fundamental. But the diet is not going to create the changes that you need, right? Now, if you're a patient in my office, and you don't have to mention that on this live, you know that after we go over labs and we look at all of these imbalances, like usually by the second or third page of looking at labs, you're like, yeah, like I'm not dieting my way through that. Like last week we had, and it's not uncommon, actually I'm lying, not even last week. Today I had two people that they had major infections going on. They had dysbiosis and their biome was really screwed up. Biotoxin illness. I don't want to get too technical, but the point is that there's no diet for that. We have to actually put a protocol together to get that back to balance. So even if this person went and dieted, it wouldn't fix anything. They would still struggle with weight. They would still struggle with energy. They would still struggle with their blood sugar. Maybe if their diet is like perfect, like unlivable perfect, which a lot of people do, maybe there's a little improvement, but it's not really moving the dial. That's the thing with like keto and so forth. I'm going to do another video on keto. But like the problem with keto and these other sort of fad diets is that it doesn't offer a long-term solution, number one. And number two is it doesn't fix how you got there in the first place. So yeah, it could offer some temporary results, but I'm not into that. I want to see long-term results where, you know, people sustain their better quality of health for a long period of time. Okay, so anyway, there is no magical diet, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for mentioning that. Good. And there was another question here. There's so many questions. It's okay, Misty. I can't wait till you read my book. I can just answer. I'm like, oh, go to page 26. Like, go to page 50. Whatever. I got to study the book now. Oh my God, I'm writing it. I don't. Yeah, it's kind of funny. Sometimes, like when I read my first book, which has nothing to do with diabetes, I look back and I'm like, I wrote that, and I did it when I was, what was that, about 10, 15 years ago? Yeah, I'll tell you the story there, right? So I write this book. It's like really an awesome book. It's about how the nervous system, and there's 5 factors to health, and how the nervous system like controls things, and how my dad actually, most of you don't know this, but my dad actually was able to get off all his blood pressure medications and all these other things like years ago, and he didn't change his diet, he didn't change anything, and I talk about it in a book, and it's really, really good. But anyway, I read back this book, and I'm like, this is a really good book, but here's the problem. The problem is I published the book, and then my wife decides to get pregnant. And then I can't go on a book tour, all the plans, because I was like, all these radio and TV programs wanted me on, and then, you know, I have a baby. And then I had another child, and, you know, then I can't do any book tours. So this time, no more children, and this time I'll do the book tour, I'll do the interviews, I'll do the TV stuff, and it will help you and other people, so I'm excited. And I may do a really awesome promo when it comes out in a few months, where you guys can get it for like 99 cents or something. So anyway, I'll let you know if that happens if you're interested. But it's really good right now. It's really answering all of the questions you have about diet, about what really goes on, about the lab testing. It's really good. I finally got it put together. This way you'll get the most out of it and really benefit. It'd be the book. Like if I was ever a type 2 diabetic, this book is the book I would want to read. So good. All right. So Missy, let me answer this question here. Yeah, you would definitely want to eat throughout the day. Like you want to consistently eat throughout the day to keep that metabolism going. So that's not a bad idea. So good. All right, awesome. It looks like those are all the questions. Let me just sneak down here and let's see if there's anything else. All right, good. All right, well, I hope everybody enjoyed this Facebook Live. This is our second one we've done, and obviously there's more questions. I think there are some more questions in our group, but if you're not a part of our group, get to our group. Jody asked, how difficult is it to get off metformin? Yep, it's not too hard. Now, depending on the person, but yeah, in my office, no, I see it all the time. You know, we had 5-6 people last week able to get off metformin. So yeah, that shouldn't be too crazy. Yep. Awesome, good. Okay, anyway, so like I said, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. And for those of you who want to send this to other people, there will be a replay available. So definitely check that out. In our group, ask the questions, and then when we get to our next live, which I'll probably be doing next week again, we'll be able to answer those. All right, so everybody have a good rest of your day. Thank you for coming, and keep on working on getting better. Be well, stay well, and I'll see some of you very soon with patients, and everybody else, I'll see you guys in the group. All right. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye, everyone. Have a good night.